ॐ ॐ ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। ॐ श्रीकृष्णपरमात्मने नमः। अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अष्टादशोऽध्यायः मोक्षसंन्यासयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम् सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मव्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्। चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव। मच्चित्तः सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि। अथ चेत्त्वम् अहङ्कारान् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्ष्यसि। यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न सु यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे। मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धस्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं नेच्छसि यन्मोहात् करिष्यस्य वशोऽपि तत्। ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां हृदेशेऽर्जुन तिष्ठति भ्रामयन् सर्वभूतानि यन्त्रारूढानि मायया तमेव शरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत। तत्प्रसादात् परां शान्तिं स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम्। इति ते ज्ञानमाख्यातं गुह्याद् गुह्यतरं मया विमृश्यैतदशेषेण यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु। सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमं वचः। इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्। मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे। ॐ तत्सत्। सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। So we were looking at the verse 58. I will just read quickly the 57th verse, last two paragraphs. Karma Yoga is a life of surrender, a religious life. Ishvara has to be accepted, and therefore there is no secular Karma Yoga. When you want to accomplish things without Ishvara, you create a lot of unnecessary pressure because you are taking charge of things that you are not capable of controlling. When you make yourself responsible for things for which you are not responsible at all, you build up pressure and invite problems. In the beginning, you may enjoy some success, but later you will suffer a breakdown. In Karma Yoga, efficiency is natural because you are free from anxiety. When there is no pressure, all your faculties are available to you because you do not spend your time worrying about what will happen. You just do what you can do. Real efficiency is not perfection, it is the availability of the total person. All your faculties, your emotion, your mind, senses, and skills are available for the task at hand. And the fact that what is available is limited is not a problem. Everybody has limited powers, but the limited powers you have are at your disposal because you are using them for making an offering to Ishvara. There is no question of your not being efficient, but it is not right to define Karma Yoga as efficiency in work. Karma Yoga is purely a religious life, so there is no Karma Yoga without devotion. Shankara says Buddhi Yoga is a firm resolve of the mind. As we saw in the second chapter, the one who has discovered that moksha is the only purushartha has a mind that is resolute, while the one who has not properly ascertained this end has a mind that is fragmented. Chapter 241 verse. Yeah, just a minute. व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखायनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाम्. Here, O joy of the Kurus, Kuru Nandana, there is but a single pointed determination. Many branched and endless are the thoughts of the irresolute. If the end is not clear, the ends are endless. And if the end is very clear, the only project I have is fixing up myself so that I can understand my identity with Ishvara. Everything is for that purpose, and therefore everything has a purpose. No matter what it takes, no matter how many years it takes, it does not matter. The resolution, the commitment is to moksha as the end, and therefore karma becomes yoga. If one's mind is always resolved in Ishvara, then what happens? So here the karma yoga with all Ishwararpana buddhi and yajna bhava, when we do the things, there Ishvara is the karta, and whatever result we get, whether favorable, not favorable, or opposite, we accept it as prasad buddhi. Then we do not have that confusion, that fragmentation. We are there as a complete person to offer whatever we do as a worship to Ishvara. So there the karma yoga becomes the means for the moksha. Yeah, if anyone wants to share or wants me to repeat.
Whatever you said right now that you can repeat, Belaji.
I'm sorry, I did not get it, Sarlaji.
Once again.
Should I repeat again the read
Yeah,
again?
whatever you have said right now, that you can
Yeah,
repeat again.
yeah. When we do whatever our karma, whatever they are, when we do it as yajna bhava with that attitude, then we are offering all our karmas with Ishvara as karta. We are not taking the responsibility of whatever we do. And as a yajna bhava, when we do, then whatever happens, the result, whatever comes, whether it is in favor, whether it is not in favor, or just the opposite, then we accept it as prasada from the Ishvara. Then there will be no fragmentation of ourself. We will be having a purnatva bhavana every time.
Thank you, Balaji.
Jai Gurudev. That is one perspective. The other one is we only have responsibility towards action, but not the result. The result is not in our hands. That is number one. So when we think we are the ones crafting our result, that is taking a lot of, we are working from ahankara. Whereas when we consider Ishvara as the giver of the result, we only have responsibility towards acting, towards doing or not doing. That is what we have. That is our responsibility. That is one. Second is this, when we have the end in view, what is our end? What is our goal? Is it artha? Is it to just relieve ourselves of some misery that we are going through, or to gain something, or is it moksha? So if the end is clear in our mind, then we will not be fragmented in our approach to life. That vyavasayatmika buddhi becomes established. There is that single-pointed commitment towards moksha. The purushartha is very clear. Otherwise, there are so many things that can happen in the that are around. The mind can keep getting attached here and there and everywhere. So that's a fragmented mind. Whereas you're clear in your mind, what is it you want? Everything else gets like weeded out and the path is clear.
Very nice.
Yeah, so beautifully summarized. It is usually always the confusion between Shreyas and Preyas. We are always so much concerned with the worldly things that we choose Preyas. But when we are very clear about the moksha as the end, then naturally the Shreyas takes the lead and Preyas takes the following. And I think that is the skill, right, Brahmaraji? That is the skill that while choosing the Shreyas over the Preyas.
Yes. Even when we're doing worldly things, we have to do. We cannot negate working in the
Correct.
world, ephemeral world. We have to. We have our duties to perform, roles to complete, roles to fulfill. So when we're doing that, what is our ultimate end? So if we want to put on the garb of karma yogi, take on the role of a karma yogi, then moksha is the only purushartha. We cannot say, okay, I'm going to ask for um, something in the world, doesn't matter, then I'll still be a karma yogi. Doesn't happen that way. So for a karma yogi, moksha is the only purushartha. Because see, joy and happiness, sorrows are part of life. If you're still stuck in saying, oh God, please relieve me of my misery, please relieve me of my pain, you are still you are not taking it as you're not taking whatever you're getting as prasada. If you're taking anything you get in life as prasada, whether it's joy or misery, you will not be seeking Lord's blessings to get out of misery. Isn't it?
Correct.
So the very fact that we accept every result as prasada means whether it is positive or negative, whether it is joyful or otherwise, you are with a smile taking whatever comes. So then where is the question of you praying to Lord to relieve you of your suffering? You are not suffering at all. The pain is there. Pain is inevitable, but there is no suffering. So you are relieving yourself of that artha, the devotee that is an artha. And so also devotee that is artharthi. You know all this is impermanent. So there is that vairagya that comes in. So what are you searching? What are you asking for? More money, more fame, more relationships? What is it? All this will dissolve with that vairagya. So the artharthi is also taken care of. So we are jignasus. We are
Mumukshus.
every karma yogi is a jignasu, wanting to learn about the self, more about the self, so that you get established in this. So once we understand this, then our prayer becomes very, it takes a different level altogether. It takes us to a different level. You're only seeking Lord's blessings to get the right kind of thinking, to put you to keep you steady on the path. You're recognizing Ishvara everywhere, whether in your friend or in a person that is seemingly not doing good to you. You will stop blaming, and all these 5 points that we learn in the happiness course, we will start living them. Not just as a concept, but as part of our nature.
So very beautiful. Then we will not use that diamond like washerman was using that example, no? He was using that diamond to wash the clothes. Once we realize how precious that diamond is.
Life becomes playful and there is only gratefulness.
Yeah, prayers are done out of joy, not for the joy, as Brahmaraji yesterday so beautifully said. Okay. With that beautiful, blissful mind, we go ahead. If one's mind is always resolved in Ishvara, then what happens? मच्चित्त सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि अथ चेत्त्वम् अहङ्कारान् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्ष्यसि. Machchittah sana, being one whose mind is always in me. Mat prasadat, because of my grace. Sarva durgani, all difficulties, tarishyasi, you will cross. Atha chet, but if ahankarat, because of egotism, tvam, you, na shroshyasi, you do not listen, vinangshyasi, you will perish. मच्चित्तः सन मत्प्रसादात् सर्वदुर्गाणि तरिष्यसि अथ चेत् अहङ्कारात् त्वं न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्ष्यसि. Being one whose mind is always in me, because of my grace, you will cross all difficulties. But if, because of egotism, you do not listen to me, you will perish. By placing your mind in me, you will cross all difficulties. Durga means that which is difficult to cross. A mountain peak or a narrow passage which is difficult to negotiate is called Durga. It is something that can be traversed only with great difficulty. Shankara says it is the cause of samsara. These are the karmas which create punya, papa, that cause new births. They are born of a sense of agency, kartritva, which itself is born of ignorance, ajnana, all of which are very difficult to cross. But being one who is committed to a life of karma yoga, you will cross all these things which are difficult to cross. Sarva Durgani Tarishyasi. If you do not listen to me, you will perish. Now he says, suppose you don't listen to me. Athachet na shroshyasi. Because of your own egotism, ahankara, you think you know everything and are going to take charge of everything, and that you need not follow this at all. Due to arrogance, born of ignorance, you do not understand what I have been telling you. If that is the case, you will get destroyed. Vinangshasi, meaning you cannot accomplish what you want. The Shreyas that you are seeking will be denied to you because you are not ready for it. If you are not ready for sannyasa and you give up karma, you will neither be a sannyasi nor a karma yogi. Therefore, you will get destroyed in the sense that you will not get that end which you are seeking. Krishna says this only to make sure that Arjuna has understood him properly, because later he is going to give him the freedom to choose whatever he wants. Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. Now he wants to make sure that he has said everything he has to say. Krishna is telling Arjuna that even though the duty he has to do here is not pleasant, if he gives it up, he will have to do something more unpleasant later, because his nature will force him to do so. When people taunt him for running away from the battlefield, he will get so angry that he will fight with them, because no one can completely give up his nature. Arjuna's disposition at that time was something that had to be taken care of. Later, he is going to say, Nashto moha smratir labdva karishye vachanam tava. I have no more delusion. I will do what you have said. He understands that performing action also is a means for moksha for him, his disposition being what it is. He had knowledge, all right, but from his behavior later, and also from Bhagavan says to Arjuna, right now we understand that his knowledge has some obstructions. They have to be taken care of. So this is a final warning to Arjuna that I have said so much, but if you do not listen, then you will get destroyed. Tvam vinangshasi. So he is, because he is still not having that prepared mind. He still has that lack of shama, dama, uparama, titiksha. He still has that lack of attitude, lack of that vichara, that whatever he's doing, he has taken responsibility. He thinks, Arjuna thinks, I am the karta, I am going to kill my own relatives. So that is why Bhagavan said that you will neither be a good sannyasi nor a good kshatriya because of your disposition. Yeah, should I? Your disposition will impel you to fight. May I request someone to take over after some time, please? Whoever can take, Sumaji or Sarlaji. Will it be convenient? I'll be leaving for the long trip.
Okay, I'll take over.
Yeah. Dhanyavad. Your disposition will impel you to fight. Shankara introduces the next verse saying that one should not think, I am independent. Why should I do what someone else says? यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति अहङ्कारम् आश्रित्य resorting to egotism yat manyase that which you think. Here, yat manyase, yada manyase api is there. I will read that. This verse has a different reading available too. The difference is as follows. Here, the word yat is read as yadi and connecting with manyase. It would mean yadi manyase if you were to think instead of yat manyase, that which you think. So both the words, the meanings are given. Yada manyase and yat manyase. That which you think and if you were to think. Yadi manyase. Na yotsye, na yotsye iti. That I will not fight. Eshah te vyavasayah. This resolve of yours. Mithya is false. Prakritihi, your disposition, tvam niyokshyasi, will impel you. Ahankaram ashritya yat manyase va yada manyase, yadi manyase na yotsye iti eshah te vyavasayah mithya prakritihi tvam niyokshyasi. Resorting to egotism that you think I will not fight, this resolve of yours is false. Your disposition will impel you. I repeat, resorting to egotism that you think I will not fight, this resolve of yours is false. Your disposition will impel you. Krishna knows that if Arjuna should resolve not to fight, that resolve would be false because it is not in keeping with his disposition. It would be will-based, not natural. If it were true to his nature, it would be the proper conclusion. But since it is not, such a decision would not be helpful to him. He may go away from the battlefield and take to the life of a sadhu, but that will be problematic for him later. Why? Your nature will bind you. Prakritihi tvam niyokshati, says Krishna. Later, people will tease him for running away from the battlefield because of fear. Duryodhana is not going to let people believe that Arjuna went away out of compassion. If Arjuna leaves, the war will be called off and Duryodhana will claim victory without a shot. He is not going to acknowledge that he won by default, but will boast that by simply presenting his army, he frightened Arjuna away. Even though in his heart he knew Arjuna left because of compassion, he would not let the people think so because he is going to rule the kingdom and does not want the people to favor the Pandavas. They may revolt against him. Therefore, he will make sure that everybody believes that Arjuna ran away from the battlefield out of sheer fright on seeing the formation of the army. This will definitely enrage Arjuna, and therefore a decision not to fight would be false, mithya. He has not grown into the disposition of a Brahmana, but is still a Kshatriya by nature. He is a fighter by nature, and this will force him to do the action of a Kshatriya. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, a warrior, not only by duty but also by disposition. Therefore, that disposition will indeed impel him to act as a warrior later. So Bhagwan here has warned him about the consequences to Arjuna, that if you do not fight and if you think that sannyasa is better for me, then there also you will not be at peace because of your disposition, which is rajasic. Yeah, धन्यवाद so much.
What is the page number? Belaji, what page number are you in?
Yeah, sorry, I was 360. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I was muted.
Okay. Yeah, so can you all see my screen?
Yes, dear, yes, we can see.
Yeah. So please share what you have gathered from what was just read. So what I gathered here is Bhagwan says resorting to egotism. So even this feeling that uh, that I'm killing is coming from egoism. I didn't realize that. That I will kill my teacher and my kith and kin. And therefore feeling sad about it is also egoism. And egoism is against courage. The nature of Arjuna is courage. By nature, he is courageous. So when he succumbs to this emotion, he is displaying egoism. This is what I gained. All right, then we can continue with the next verse. Somebody would like to read this?
On the other hand, if Arjuna was a karma yogi, he would be fighting fighting the war with an attitude of yajna, as a yajna, right? He would be thinking, I'm doing this for Ishvara's sake. But rather than that, he was coming from the space that he was the one. So he was taking the whole onus onto him, thinking, oh, I am the one. I will have to suffer. Everybody else will also have to suffer. So he came from that I space quite a lot. He was not coming
Impelled
from
by
this.
dispositions.
Huh?
He impelled by because of his dispositions also.
No, his disposition is that of a Kshatriya, no doubt. Which
Hmm.
is why he was there ready to fight. But he was overcome by misplaced compassion. The compassion he had was out of he was overcome by that mamakara so much. My people, my uncle, my grandfather. How can I kill? How can I kill? That was the thing. So he was deluded by that. Out of extreme compassion, he did what he did. He said what he said. But there was a delusion of that I, the ahankara was there. Which is why Krishna tells him, even now, if you think by delusion, ignorance, you think you are the one doing it, then you will perish. Because based on his disposition, he cannot but fight. His disposition is that of a Kshatriya. So he has no choice but to fight. But if he decides otherwise, he will in any case come back towards the end and fight. In whatever form. Whether he'll fight his cousins or he'll fight the people who say he has walked away from the battlefield as a coward. Whatever it is, he will be there fighting. Because that is his natural disposition.
And even in the battlefield, he was not there as a complete person. He was fragmented due to his moha, due to the delusion. He was carried away by the emotions. So, there as a fighter, also, he was not there fully. That is why Bhagwan said that because he had taken the responsibility that I am going to kill. So Bhagwan had warned that it will be the destruction, it will destroy you if you go with that attitude or if you leave with that attitude the battlefield.
Knowing all this, if you don't follow it, you will win. You will be finished. Means destroyed. Knowing everything, and again you are not following that karma yoga, then you will be perished.
And Krishna also gave the Purva Paksha to Arjuna. He says, even though Duryodhana may know in his heart that you left out of compassion, but he being a politician, he will use it for his advantage, saying that Arjuna ran out of fear so that people won't revolt against Duryodhana. So he will put all the blame on Arjuna being a coward and all that. So Krishna gave a good analysis of the situation. Both sides he gave because he knows that will definitely enrage Arjuna. If Duryodhana says that Arjuna left out of fear, then definitely Arjuna will get angry because he didn't do out of fear, but he left out of compassion or he wanted to leave out of compassion. So Krishna knew how Arjuna will think ahead, how Duryodhana will think ahead, and he put it forth very nicely. Because he says, even if you run away from the battle, your nature is Kshatriya. And when you hear that you are accused of being a coward, you will get up and fight at that time. Because that will force him to take action as a Kshatriya. So Arjuna was not only a Kshatriya by duty, but also by disposition. Therefore, that disposition will indeed impel him to act like a warrior later. So Krishna knew so much ahead. Wow.
That's why he is Krishna.
Uh, that's why we should never get off the cart.
Yes.
That's the thing I always think of now.
Guru
Things are
Vakya.
not going your way, just stay in the cart.
Mm.
Okay, someone who should read, otherwise I'll start.
Yeah, I will read. Sumaji, धन्यवाद.
Yeah.
स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धस्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं नेच्छसि यन्मोहात् करिष्यस्य वशोऽपि तत्. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Arjuna, mohat, out of delusion, yat kartum na ichhasi, what you do not wish to do, tat api, just that, swabhava jena, which is born of your natural disposition, svena karmana, by your own action, nibaddhaha, being definitely bound, avashaha karishyasi, you will helplessly do. Kaunteya mohat yat kartum na ichhasi tat api swabhavajena svena karmana nibaddhaha avashaha karishyasi.
O Arjuna, out of delusion, being definitely bound by your own action, which is born of your natural disposition, you will helplessly do just what you do not wish to do. So correct, no? How many times we try to postpone something which we are supposed to do, and in the end, out of desperation and helplessness, we end up doing. Yeah. Missing all the opportunities earlier, isn't it? I have had this experience. Out of delusion, being definitely bound by your own action, which is born of your natural disposition, you will helplessly do just what you do not wish to do. What is born out of one's disposition, determined by the composition of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, is called swabhavaja. By this, one is definitely bound, nibhadda, to perform certain actions. Even what you do not want to do, yat kartum na ichchasi. Why would you not want to do what is in keeping with your nature? Because of some delusion, mohat, due to some impulsive decision or some misplaced sympathy. Arjuna wanted to call off the war. Sympathy is a good quality, but here it is misplaced because Duryodhana is a person who has committed every crime in the book. He doesn't require sympathy now. He has to be stopped. If you act upon a misplaced sympathy for someone just because he is a cousin, you will have a lot of problems. That is an action born of lack of discrimination, mohat. That very action that you do not want to do now, you will uncontrollably do later. Karisyasi avasyopi tat. Karishyasi avasyopi tat.
Karishyasi avashyopi tat.
Thank you. Karishyasi avasyopi tat.
Avashyo. The sha is there. Yeah. Avashyopi tat.
Avashyopi tat. Karishyasi avashyopi tat. When the pressure goes away, you will regret your failure to act. So true, so true. Or perhaps people will goad you into it. Whatever be the impetus, being completely possessed by a given disposition, you will definitely act in accordance with it. I'll repeat this. This is very true for me. When the pressure goes away, you will regret your failure to act. Or perhaps people will goad you into it. Whatever be the impetus, being completely possessed by a given disposition, you will definitely act in accordance with it. There is no escape from it because you cannot change your disposition by will. There is no escape from it because you cannot change your disposition by will. By your will, you can create a condition for yourself that is conducive towards a change. But it takes its own time. A change in disposition does not happen overnight. Arjuna has to go through this experience of war. That is the situation which has presented itself before him, and he has to do what is to be done. If he does not, he is not acting in keeping with his disposition. From this, we should understand that each one of us must do what is appropriate for us. What someone else does is not a legitimate basis for our choice of action.
Sumaji, can you just repeat the one that says from where we cannot change our disposition by will? Can you repeat from that and read a little slowly after that?
Okay.
We
I'll
can
read
change
from
by will, no?
No, it takes time. It says no, it takes its own time. I'll read from here. When the pressure goes away, you will regret your failure to act, or perhaps people will goad you into it. Whatever be the impetus, being completely possessed by a given disposition. We are all possessed by a given disposition. So Krishna says, being completely possessed by a disposition, you will definitely act in accordance with it, accordance with your disposition. There is no escape from it because you cannot change your disposition by will. By your will, you can create a condition for yourself that is conducive towards a change, but it takes its own time.
Yeah, I think that sentence needs to be repeated one more time because that is what
Yeah,
we are here for, right?
yeah.
Mm.
There is no escape from it because you cannot change your disposition by will. By will, you can create a condition for yourself that is conducive towards a change, but it takes its own time. A change in disposition does not happen overnight. Arjuna has to go through this experience of war. That is the situation which has presented itself before him, and he has to do what is to be done. If he does not, he is not acting in keeping with his disposition. From this, we should understand that each one of us must do what is appropriate for us. What someone else does is not a legitimate basis for our choice of action. This is also very powerful. What someone else does is not a legitimate basis for our choice of action. What is good for you, you have to decide and then do it.
Brahmaraji, I have a question. If these actions are swabhavaja and there is a very little will to, and by will only you will create the conducive situation, then what will be his action? By swabhavaja or by, because he will not get influenced by other people. Means, for example, here it is written, you will not follow what others are doing. That is not a means proper thing. So he has to
Yeah.
choose what he
So,
needs to choose.
correct. So, what is his choice? What is he supposed to do as a Kshatriya? Is to protect Dharma.
Yes.
What is the other person doing? Quite the opposite. Duryodhana. He's following Adharma. So, Arjuna is supposed to follow Dharma, and as a Kshatriya, he's right there in the middle of the battlefield. Everybody is there ready to start the fight, start the war. So, what is he rightfully supposed to do? Take on his bow and arrow and fight. So, his disposition is that of a Kshatriya, therefore, he's there to fight. And he's there to fight. At that point, the only problem he has faced is because of that delusion or that misplaced compassion or whatever you call it. He wanted to do otherwise. But Krishna is saying that swabhava, your swabhava is that to fight. So no matter what, finally in the end, you will anyway fight. So why don't you pick up now and fight? Fight for dharma. Don't leave the battlefield.
Correct.
So when we extrapolate this to our own situation, all of us are Arjunas in our own right, isn't it? Every situation when we are facing, are two things we'll have to ask ourselves. Are we doing what is to be done? Second, are we doing it according to dharma? Well, when you say what is to be done, it is according to dharma only. What is to be done, you do. What is not to be done, you do not do. And how we do it? With this attitude of a karma yogi. So the path is quite clear for us. The only thing we have to do is to remove this wrong thinking. Wrong thinking that I am the one doing. I am the one. I will
And
get the result.
and how the conducive situation should be created for
That,
example in our life.
see, out of will, you cannot change your swabhava. We are born with that combination of sattva, rajas, tamo gunas. With that prarabdha karma, when we are born with some set of combination of these three. This is what is driving us. This is what you see, the multiplicity,
Okay, I
diversity in the
means
world, right?
whatever is the disposition that we have to, means if sattva is required to increase, we have to do something, and when that
Yeah.
disposition come, then we will, that conducive environment will be uh, created. Okay, thank you. I understood.
So, what is the one, I'd like to repeat that sentence. It's such a beautiful sentence again. Is, where is that sentence? By your will, you can create a condition for yourself that is conducive towards a change, but it takes its own time. If you remember, we create our own blueprint for our life, situations in our life. So there is no escape from it, because you cannot change a disposition by will. But by your will, you can create a condition for yourself that is conducive towards a change. So when you have taken the path of moksha and you're reading about the Shastra and all that, what are you doing by your will? We are using our will here, no? We are not just doing it because our disposition is towards this. You have taken the opposite path. You're going uphill. You're going towards yourself. So we are creating a conducive situation so that either in this life or in the next life, we are creating a condition which is conducive for change. but it takes time. It is not like an overnight thing. So even for Arjuna, if he ultimately wants to take sannyasa, it is not one day on the spot decision. In the Mahabharata war, he takes to sannyasa from being a Kshatriya. It will take time. He first has to be a true karma yogi. Then after he's rid of himself of his raga dveshas, then he can take up to sannyasa. So it will take time for this change to happen.
I have this question. I know it is a funny thing. Why can't we see also like Krishna? Like Krishna can see ahead. Why are we not able to make decisions looking at the consequences ahead?
Very beautiful question. I think it is because we have this filter of raga dvesha. We have this filter. This mala is enveloping us.
But if intuitive power comes, then we can see and can take actions also. But we have a choices. So that because of Mala, what Brahmaraji is saying, we choose what we have not to choose.
So much cleaning to be done still.
Brahmaraji, please continue what you were about to say. Sorry.
No, getting the right thought at the right time. That is what Krishna is doing, right? So getting the right thought at the right time is nothing but working from your intuition, that universal knowledge, which is all pervasive. So getting to that space, you will have to clean up your raga dveshas. And antakarana shuddhi needs to happen. Otherwise, there's no difference between Krishna and us, no? Is there any difference? No difference. The only difference is that we are enveloped by this limitation that we have imposed on ourselves. That raga dveshas, this ignorance, and ahankara. All the other 6 levels of existence, we identify with. All we need is detach from that and attach to the self. It's easier said than done, but this is the journey. We're on it.
Can I read? Doing karma as a yogi is not in any way opposed to moksha. Karma is by nature opposed to moksha because it is a product of ignorance of the self. I'll read this again. Doing karma as a yoga is not in any way opposed to moksha. Karma itself is by nature opposed to moksha because it is a product of ignorance of the self. If the karma is meant only for achieving a few limited ends, you will get only those things. And thus, it is bondage, not moksha. But if the karma is done as a yoga, not for a given end, but for moksha, it can prepare you for moksha. If the karma is done as a yoga, not for a given end, but for moksha, it can prepare you for moksha. As a karma yogi, you have a field wherein you can change your disposition into a sattvika disposition, which is necessary for knowledge that is free from obstructions. I'll read again. As a karma yogi, you have a field wherein you can change your disposition into a sattvika disposition, which is necessary for knowledge that is free from obstructions. To remove all the obstructions, pratibandhakas, one has to go through a life of duty, keeping Ishvara in view. In the 5th chapter, Bhagavan pointed out what is accomplished by the sannyasi is reached by the karma yogi also. Yat shankyaya prapyate sthanam tad yogai
Yat
rapi.
prapyate, yat sankhyaih prapyate sthanam, tad yogairapi gamyate.
So, a karma yogi can get what a sannyasi is doing if he is doing his action as a karma yogi. You cannot simply impose your will upon your disposition. It does not change. That very will is a product of an impulsive disposition, which has to mature. Making a resolve to be a sannyasi does not generally work because it is not easy to gain the disposition of a sannyasi without a life of karma yoga. Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptum ayogatah.
Very beautiful. Yeah.
Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna that karma yoga is better. Karma yoga vishishyate. So nice, no, to have a teacher like this to tell us exactly what is good for us. Karma yoga, do your duty, keeping Ishvara in view. That's all. Then there is no difference between you and a sannyasi and a karma yogi. So you cannot get to the disposition of a sannyasi without being a karma yogi, without having the life of a karma yogi. Very nice. Yes, please. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridesharjuna.
Hridesharjuna. Should I chant it?
Yes, please.
Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridesharjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya.
Arjuna, O Arjuna, yatra rudhani.
Yantrarudhani.
Yantra rudhani. Like those who are mounted on a machine. Sarva bhutani, all beings. Mayaya, by the magic of his maya. Mayaya.
Mayaya.
Mayaya, by the magic of his maya. Brahmayan, causing what is that? Brahmayan, causing to move, revolve.
Brahmayan.
Ishvara, Brahmayan, causing to move. Ishvara, the Lord, Sarva Bhutanam, of all beings, Hrideshe, at the seat of the intellect, Tishtati, remains. So the Lord remains at the seat of the intellect of all beings, Arjuna, causing all beings to move, revolve by the magic of his Maya, like those figures which are mounted on a machine and made to revolve. Gurudev says, no, merry-go-round. We go in that Maya of merry-go-round. The Lord remains at the seat of the intellect of all beings, Arjuna, causing all beings to move, revolve by the magic of his Maya, like those figures which are mounted on a machine and are made to revolve. Meaning of the word Arjuna. Shankara has chosen this occasion to give the meaning of the name Arjuna as the one whose disposition is pure. He has a clean mind. This meaning of the word Arjuna as something that is clear or bright is also seen in the Rig Veda, where the day is described initially as Krishna, meaning dark, overcast and cloudy. Immediately, the day is said to be Arjuna, meaning Atiswacha, very clear, not cloudy. Thus, Arjuna is the one who has a clean mind, like the cloudless day. That does not mean he does not get angry, but there is no deceit. Because he has a clean mind, he has compassion, as we have seen. But at the same time, he has other obstructions like legitimate anger. All the Pandavas have that kind of mind. Even Bhima has that kind of mind. But if you taunt him, he is going to pulverize you. So he is not going to be a sadhu. They were all people of great self-respect. If you say something which will in any way belittle them, you will have to answer for that. This is not the mind of a sadhu, but of a simple-natured human being. Okay, so sadhu has that tolerance, no? What is that word for tolerance in Sanskrit? Titiksha, titiksha. Whereas these Pandavas with pure heart, they are very simple-natured human beings. Very nice. Now I got the difference of a sadhu and a simple-natured person. There's so much difference. Somebody with a clean mind has compassion, but they can get angry also. That is a simple-natured human being. Wow, so nice. Difference between a sadhu and a simple-natured human being. So the word Arjuna means, excuse me, somebody with a clean mind, whose disposition is pure. Simple-natured human being. Mind is clean and they have compassion. But at the same time, he has other obstructions like legitimate anger. A sadhu does not have that. So that is why Arjuna cannot become a sannyasi. Very nice.
What is that one Rig Veda ke upar one that can you read that? Maybe
One.
the
Yeah.
footnote is there. Yeah.
Ahascha Krishnam. Somebody please read Aharjunam cha.
Ahascha Krishnam Aharjunam cha. What is this in respect of?
Rig Veda.
Arjuna's meaning. Arjuna's meaning. Again, can you read that paragraph again?
Okay. Meaning of the word Arjuna. Shankara has chosen this occasion to give the meaning of the name Arjuna as the one whose disposition is pure. He has a clean mind. This meaning of the word Arjuna as something that is clear or bright is also seen in Rig Veda, where the day is described initially as Krishna, meaning dark, overcast and cloudy. Immediately, the day is said to be Arjuna, meaning Atish Swacha, very clear, not cloudy. Thus, Arjuna is the one who has a clean mind like the cloudless day. That does not mean he does not get angry, but there is no deceit. See, this is what is the thing. There is no deceit. Because he has a clean mind, he has compassion, as we have seen, but at the same time, he has other obstructions like legitimate anger. All the Pandavas have this kind of mind. Even Bhima has this kind of mind. But if you taunt him, he is going to pulverize you. So he is not going to be a sadhu. So Krishna knows Arjuna does not have the disposition to become a sadhu because he has a clear, clean mind, but he has other obstructions like legitimate anger. Whereas a sadhu does not have that any obstruction. They were all, that is the Pandavas, were all great people of great self-respect. If you say something which will anyway belittle them, you will have to answer for that. This is not the mind of a sadhu, but of a simple-natured human being. So they are that simple-natured human being. There's no deceit in their mind. There is compassion and legitimate anger. And they will respond to that in a befitting manner. So with such disposition, you cannot be a sadhu. So sannyasa is not for Arjuna. Clear, no?
Yes, yes, please continue.
Yeah. Lord, seated in the intellect, causes all beings to function through Maya. Ishvara is the one in whose presence the mind, senses, etc. function as they do, and the whole universe is as it is. That Ishvara is said to reside at the seat of the intellect. Hridesh, Hridesh, Hridaseshe. How do you say this, Brahmaraji? Hrideshe. Okay. I hope that's correct. Hrideshe. Because that is where consciousness is manifest, where you experience the whole world, where you recognize the presence of Atma. There alone you recognize I am. And this is true for all beings, Sarva Bhutana. Residing there, Ishvara is causing all beings to move. Brahmayan, Sarva Bhutani. Because
Brahmayan.
Brahmayan, Sarva Bhutani. Because of his presence alone, without any involvement at all on his part. The mind is mind, the intellect is intellect, the eyes are eyes, and the ears are ears. By his simple presence, he makes the mind move, make the senses move, make the whole world move. Everything is moving because of the Atma that is behind, without which there is no being for anything. Without which there is no being for anything. Giving its existence and also its consciousness to the mind, senses, etc., it remains hidden. Making all these beings move in their own directions express themselves in their respective fields. Ishvara remains in the intellect. Viddeshe tishtati. So making all these beings move in their own directions, express themselves in their respective fields. Ishvara remains in the intellect. Hriddeshi tishtati. The eyes see, ears hear, the mind desires and enjoys, will, action is done, all due to the presence of Atma. A very interesting example is given here. The beings are made to move by Ishvara, like the figures mounted on a machine are made to revolve as if by magic. Brahmayan, Brahmayan, Yantra, Yantra Rudani, Mayaya, Iva, Mayaya, Iva. The root Brahm means both, to move and to revolve. Shankara notes that the word Iva means like is to be supplied here. A yantra is a machine, any contrivance that does a task for you. But here it means a particular device on which are mounted varieties of dolls, putrikas, like a merry-go-round. We only see the turning, not the person who does the turning. When these varieties of wooden forms of men, women, animals, etc. are made to revolve by someone who's hidden behind the whole thing, they appear to be moving as though by magic. Mayaya, Mayaya, Mayaya. Just as the person who runs this show stands there without being seen, Ishvara remains in the intellect, Hriddeshe tishtati, of all beings, Sarva Bhutana, making them move. Brahmayan, Ishvara, can be understood here as Paramatma, the one who is identified with the law of karma, Hiranyagarbha. If the law of karma is understood, that very law is Ishvara residing in everybody's heart as the prarabdha karma. Accordingly, each person is going to function in keeping with his disposition. How are you going to change that unless you deliberately initiate the process of change? So this is what Sudarshan Kriya does. It, it may, at least this is what it did for me, made me awaken or open my eyes to ignorance and then make a resolve to change. How are you going to change that unless you deliberately initiate the process of change? So I'm very grateful for Sudarshan Kriya, which initiated this process of change. At least till then, I didn't even know I was living in ignorance. So nice, so grateful. Why is it hidden? Because it is the very Atma. It is not going to be seen. The presence of Paramatma alone makes the mind do what it does, or the law of karma being non-separate from the Lord. The prarabdha karma makes people do what they have got to do, and make them act according to their own disposition. Therefore, really speaking, you are not doing anything at all. It is all Ishvara. In the given situation, something is to be done, and therefore it is done. Why do you bother? As though you are in charge of everything. You acknowledge that Bhagavan is in charge and do what is to be done. It's very nice. But then to know what is to be done, that is also another issue. Sometimes there's confusion. But clarity is not there for me, at least.
What was the meaning of Arjuna? Bright and clear mind, no? Bright,
Yeah, pure and clean, clean,
pure and clean.
simple human being, like a like an ordinary human being. No, we get angry, we get sad, we have compassion, like that. Arjuna had all that. That's what it means. Arjuna means a pure, clean mind, but not that of a sadhu. Sadhu has titiksha. Arjuna does not have that. He has that obstruction of anger. So we have got a lot of obstructions. All the raga, dvesha, fear, abhinivesha. So anybody wants to share? That is, Ishvara is sitting in the heart of every Bhutani, Sarva Bhutana. And his very presence make people do what they're doing according to their disposition. But it appears as if everything is happening like that merry-go-round. So we cannot get out of our disposition. We have to act according to our disposition. So if you want to change your disposition, then you have to deliberately initiate the process of change. So it will take time. That's what earlier also we saw, no? That change won't happen overnight. You can create a conducive environment to bring about that change, but it will take time. But even to know that I have to change is a blessing, isn't it? Many people don't think that they need to change. They want others to change. And it's so difficult to change ourselves. How can we change others? So we don't have to do anything. That's what it is finally. Because Ishvara is the law of karma. The law of karma being non-separate from the Lord. Prarabdha karma makes people do what they have got to do and make them act according to their own disposition. Therefore, really speaking, you are not doing anything at all. It is all Ishvara. Ishvara's Maya, really. In the given situation, something is to be done and therefore it is done. Why do you bother as though you are in charge of everything? You acknowledge that Bhagwan is in charge and you do what is to be done. Mm. Someone please share what you gathered. Everybody is quiet. I like this, the merry-go-round. We only see the turning, not the person who does the turning. Actually, even Bhagwan, Atma doesn't do anything. Just the presence of Atma, the Maya does all the turning. And we are ignorant of that until we come to this awakening that it is Maya, we are caught in that those three gunas. Yeah, please go ahead.
So Prarabdha is the blueprint, we have come with.
Yeah.
According to Prarabdha, it's happening, but if you want, deliberately want to bring a change, you have to, spiritually you have to work on that.
Mm. And that is also Ishvara's grace only.
Hariom, when
Yeah.
we were reading the gunas in initial chapter, I think it was 17th chapter, there we were reading, that how from tamas you will have to first come to rajas and then that sattva. So it is like that evolution process happening for everyone on earth. And
yes.
It is how we will make it conducive to reach our goal, to and that is where that purushart has to happen, so that we improve our own quality first, like our own, by the help of discipline and of course all the spiritual practices, etc. So it is that purushart which we have in our hand. We don't have any free will. It is this is my conclusion, that it is only the purushart which we can do. And sometimes that purushart also, that sometimes I feel it is also governed by that Maya. Because what you want to do is not always what you are given to do. So again, that puppet feeling always remain there. And as I am studying astrology these days, so it is getting more and more hard that I am just a puppet. But yes, doing our daily nitya naimitya karma we are doing, but just with a free mind. I now that shift has happened, that just keep on doing whatever will happen. Yeah, that shift has happened now, that so much of acceptance has come, that when nothing is in your hand, why waste your energy and your uh, mental peace? You just do what is to be done. Try to do that. uh, like most of the time, we find easy ways, but you should do how that work has to be done. Then that and leaving it to God, that okay, it is His work that I am doing, and this is how it is to be done, and then just leave. Though it takes a lot of effort, but then you get that satisfaction which we are reading here. You get that satisfaction. Yes, okay, I have done my work properly as it should have been done. So that satisfaction and peace do come with that hard work. Yeah. Thank you.
Shall we stop here?
Yeah, let's stop here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
निरुपमनित्यनिरंशकेऽप्यखण्डे मयि चिति सर्वविकल्पनादिशून्ये घटयति जगदीश जीवभेदम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया श्रुतिशतनिगमान्तशोधकानपि अहह धनादिनिदर्शनेन सद्यः कलुषयति चतुष्पदाद्यभिन्ना न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया सुखचिदखण्डविबोधमद्वितीयम् वियदनलादिविनिर्मित्ते नियोज्य भ्रमयति भवसागरे नितान्तम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया अपगतगुणवर्णजातिभेदे सुखचितिविप्रविडाद्यहङ्कृतिं च स्फुटयति सुतदारकेहमोहम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया विधिहरिहरविभेदमप्यखण्डे बत विरचय्य बुधानपि प्रकामम् भ्रमयति हरिहरविभेदभावान् घटितघटना पडीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पडीयसी माया
Jai Gurudev.